Good day to you all, ALTC 804. I wanted to do a brief update over Module 2 that you're getting ready to enter into. Module 2's focus is on the science of learning. So just in a brief sense, you're going to encounter a number of resources that will help you answer the essential questions for this module that include looking at what brain research is telling us about important aspects of classroom learning for the learners and what we can do to create research-based practices that align with how we know the adolescent brain will receive information and learn. You're also going to get to learn a little bit about theories and different understandings about brain and learning process and how we foster effective learning experiences for students. Think about it in terms of we all have models of teachers that we have encountered through our own educational practices. And many times I think we come into a classroom situation with a solid understanding based on our experiences. But what I hope you will do through this module and the majority of modules that we encounter here in the next few weeks is suspend your assumptions of practices that you've witnessed, that you've experienced, because I think what the challenge is for you is to look at what research does say, because we've learned a lot over the years about what effective practice looks like and what it does not look like. And our paradigms are challenged and changing. So just keep that in mind. Because again, we all have experiences with teaching based on our own upbringing. So hopefully you'll get some new pieces of knowledge about how we plan the best instruction possible based on what the research is telling us for learners. You're also going to spend some time, and part of the assignment is going to ask you to synthesize some of the information based on an article that's provided that really gets into social cognition and the effect that student attitudes have about learning, but also it'll allow you to dive into a little bit of information about bias and how bias can play a part in our role in working with, relating to, and really seeing our learners. So it's a lengthy article, but there's some great information there. And again, we're going to utilize that article for the assignment and also the discussion this week. So I won't talk through all the aspects. You can read those in terms of the layout for Module 2 with the learning objectives. We've outlined the key reading components here. There's a couple of short videos that are also good nuggets to take a look at that will support your learning. You will have a discussion. This week's going to be a little bit different. We're going to ask you to meet with your team, same team that you had last week that you're supposed to work with for your discussion posts. And interact with, but this time you're going to get an opportunity to create a Zoom recording of your meetings. You're going to get to meet in a synchronous way, which should be kind of nice to talk and actually have some interaction with your peers and colleagues. You're going to talk about that article that I had just discussed on social cognition and attitudes toward learning. And then your assignment, you're going to have some choice. So I'm going to scroll down here in just a minute, but we're going to talk about the science of learning and put that into your own practice and your own work, whether you're in the classroom or whether you're maybe in a counseling program. I just asked you to take the prompt and apply it to the situation that you were training for through your course in your coursework at the university. But you're going to have some choice in how you deliver that product, whether it's a paper, whether it is a presentation, video. So we'll get to that in just a minute. As I scroll down through, the course materials include the readings. Some of them have some video examples with them. But the article on social cognition, I just don't want you to miss it. It is right here linked under attached files. It's a little bit smaller font, so sometimes folks will pass over it. But that's the article that we'll be utilizing for the discussion. Also, some really great resources in a variety that we'll get into, again, those effective teaching and learning strategies and how we can put the best practice into place for the learners through our planned instruction. A couple of short videos there, and then you get into the discussion prompt. Okay, so this will outline, based on the article above, what your task is for the discussion this week. Okay, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I've provided for you a short resource on how to use the Zoom online meetings in case you're unfamiliar with that. And you don't have to use Zoom if you're comfortable with a different format for video, as long as your whole group can get into it and you can share the link with me as evidence that you took the time to participate in the meeting. So the recording link is what I'll need. Then I'm fine with that. But you do have a tutorial on how to use a Zoom online meeting. And then also I've given you a little bit more detail, again, same groups as the last week. And then I've provided the contact emails, and I'll go through and double check that everyone, I took these off of the form that you submitted, so there may be a couple of email addresses that are incorrectly typed, but I'll make sure that I double check those before we get too far into next week. And then the last piece here is your discussion of the Module 2 assignment on the science of learning. So as I discussed above, you have some choice in here. So create a product. It could be an APA style paper. It could be a video screencast. It could be a graphic organizer, slideshow. You can get creative, but you've got your prompts there. So you're going to talk about theory and concepts from cognitive and learning sciences and how that applies to your teaching. So what spoke to you and what do you think you can take away from this and actually apply into your practice to improve? You're going to talk a little bit about the teaching strategy or strategies you adopted and tried out in your classroom, or again, if you're working with students in a counseling or a coaching perspective, use those experiences, just adapt as you can. And then efficacy, talk about the efficacy of your strategies and your efforts, and then what does the future look like on going forward? What do you want to learn next about in terms of this area or other areas related to the science of learning? Remember, your focus is on being the best educator you can for your students. So that's honing your practice into not just taking the model of learning and teaching that you had as you came into this program, but look at the evidence-based strategies that you're going to get to start to tiptoe into this week and apply those. Look at how you best can take those into your practice as a teacher so that ultimately your kids have the best educational opportunities possible. I am excited to see the products that come. So again, reach out to me if you have any questions. I've appreciated the text opportunity to answer questions this week. I'm also in the process of contacting those that provided some detailed responses in the Getting to Know You form and shared a little bit about themselves. So if there's anything there that I felt like I could follow up on or provide additional supports, just be watching your email because I have been getting back to folks and making some comments and opportunities to connect. So again, have a great couple of weeks ahead as we get into Module 2. I will also start working on getting the information up for Module 3, so you won't have to wait. That way, those that are working a little bit further ahead will have that information and not have to wait. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great couple of weeks.